Yo, welcome to Pitch Report. Oh, I forgot my name. I'm Mario. As you can see, I was like, why is Amilcar not talking?
Oh, man, you're a little rusty. Gotta love it. Well, I'm Amilcar, just to finish that off there.
Thank you. Okay,
Hey, at least people know that
back
it's not a recorded intro. You know, it's fresh every time.
every single time. Yeah, you get a cold open, I guess.
Sometimes colder than others.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's Monday, new week. Finally getting
Not,
back on the podcast stream, which I'm excited about.
yeah, it's not the only new thing. You want to share any other new news?
Oh yeah. I moved, so now in a totally different background, but hopefully that will be soon. I think the office slash podcast studio slash guest room will be under construction, hopefully done soon, and then I'll have a better background, not just the living room.
Yeah, I like the art. It looks good.
I know, right? You know, reminds you of San Diego a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Did you watch any of the Oscars this weekend?
I did. I watched like
Yeah.
the second half of it, I would say, which I think is, you know, maybe for someone that's not as into movies as you are, the more exciting awards, like towards the second half. But it was good. What about you?
Yeah. I was driving up from San Diego, so I listened to the first hour and a half, and then the second half I actually watched on TV. And yeah, I thought it was good. It was funny. This was the year that I came the closest to watching all the Best Picture nominees. I watched 8.5 of them,
Out of?
um, out of 10.
Oh wow, which one did you not watch?
Yeah, I didn't watch Hamnet, not by choice. I just didn't get a chance to it, like on my
Mm.
list. And then I watched like 40-ish minutes of Sentimental Value, which is like a Norwegian movie, and that was I was watching on a plane, and then my flight landed, so I didn't get back to it. But they're good.
Nice. Do you agree with the best picture?
Um, yeah, I think One Battle After Another was really good. My favorite in terms of most entertaining movie
Mhm.
for me was F1. What it was like a great popcorn movie. I watched it 2 times in movie theater, so it was just really fun. So if you haven't watched it, highly recommend it.
See, that's like my gripe with like uh award winning movies. I feel like not most, some of the time they're not the most exciting or the most entertaining to watch. So there was a moment, I think when we lived together, that I was watching a lot of them too, with you and stuff. And I'm like, all right, like I could see why they're critically acclaimed. Like the story is very intense and stuff. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, like you said, I'd rather watch like race cars or like Transformers or something I know is
Yeah,
absolutely has no cinematic like.
blow something up. Give me some,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. Give me a Michael Bay film.
yeah, you know, yeah, or like a good Mission Impossible. You
Yeah.
know it's gonna happen, but
Exactly.
it's
So I think
exciting.
for me that's the biggest thing. And honestly, I can't tell. Yeah, outside of F1, I don't think I watched any other movies. So, but after watching that, like all the awards, I'm like, okay, I probably got to watch Sinners. I got to watch like all those ones that won a lot of the awards. So hopefully, soon enough.
Yeah, I genuinely liked a lot of them this year. They didn't feel like super arts, even though there's definitely a lot of art that goes into it. I actually found them pretty interesting, all the ones that I watched. Um, but I guess with that, we can go on to the sequel, San Diego FC, year number 2 of our season. I know the season's a bit underway, but this is our first episode where we're talking about them. As of today, they're currently in third place. For the first time, they started the season off in first place, basically right where they left off at the end of last season. But they just had a 3-3 draw with FC Dallas. Uh, but Amilcar, you've been to some of the games. What are your thoughts on the team so far?
Yeah, I think I have like multiple thoughts. I think I have thoughts on the environment, thoughts on the team, you know. So in terms of the team, I think it's kind of awesome to see that it wasn't like a first season surprise or whatever it is. Teams like playing super well. I also really like all the signings, like all the young players that we have. I feel like they're kind of like coming into themselves and playing really, really as a
Yeah.
team, which is I think something we had talked about. And I think maybe we'll discuss at some point, but part of the reason why Chuki's not around and stuff like that, because very team oriented, which I think worked out really well for them last year, and so far seems like it's working out really well as well. In terms of the environment, it's really interesting because I think there's less people there this year. Like I think this time last year there were sellouts, which makes sense because it was like the first game, then it was like kind of like the new thing in town. But I think the crowd that is there is I think more hyped up and more excited. So that's also really fun to see. So I think there's a lot more intense fans, like especially the people we sit around. It's starting to be like the same people over and over again, like all renewing season tickets and stuff like that. So that's been really, really exciting to watch.
Yeah, and when you first start like a team, you definitely have like the excitement, and I feel like San Diego FC in particular and like the supporters groups have been really good about making it not feel like a brand new team. Like they've had like really like an established presence like since game one, but now what built like after that, it's kind of like the more casual fans, the people that had the novelty of it, maybe the year one, and it'll be cool having actual games that you've experienced with people and like recognizing them, like you're mentioning that you already like see some people that and really like continue to build this community, which has been like long overdue in San Diego and so far has not disappointed. But from my view on like TV so far, I haven't made it out to a game yet. It has looked a little bit emptier. You can also chalk it to maybe not having the most exciting matchups yet. And I know we're going to have some like more exciting ones later on. But overall, I mean, at least San Diego FC is doing their part to warrant people to go watch them. And I would imagine as the season progresses and as they continue to hopefully have success, they will have more of those like sellouts or just busier games.
Yeah, and I will say the supporter section is more full than I've ever seen it. So now, like usually the supporter section was like 3/4 full, kind of centered right in the middle. Now there's like not one seat. The multiple games I went to was like
awesome.
sold. It seemed like it was sold out the entire way. So, and they're always really loud and they kind of keep the ambiance going. So even if you have maybe a little bit less people there, but you have all that selling out. And something I think to also think about is like we play in like one of the bigger stadiums in the MLS, right? So I think I saw something maybe 2 or 3 weeks into the season, and they were like the third highest attended team. And they were selling, I think they sold like 86 or 87% of their seats, but because the stadium's so big, there's still, more people going to those games than I would say like 80-90% of the MLS teams.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, a lot of it's like based on like the size of the stadium. Yeah.
We're playing Carson, and it's like there's like 17,000 seats or something like that, something crazy. And we're playing like 36,000, I think.
Yeah, biggest purpose-built stadium so far in MLS.
Yeah,
purpose-built for soccer, that is.
Yeah. Exactly. Outside of the game at the Coliseum, which I think like sold out, was like crazy amount of people for that inaugural match.
Yeah, that was insane. And LAFC's been off to a great start. Now that they're in second, just only because Vancouver just trashed Minnesota like 6-0, so on goal differential. But it's gonna, I think, be a fun one competing with the LAFC this year.
Honestly, all the California teams are doing well because the Earthquakes are doing well as well. So those going to be exciting, man. All those crosstown rivalries, or at least like California West Coast rivalries that we were talking about last year. Let's see if it actually lives up to the hype.
Yeah, last I checked, I think at least LAFC and San Diego were in the top 5 power rankings. So that was before this past week. So we'll see if they stay there. But we have some games, or a game this week. We have leg 2 against Toluca, where San Diego FC will be traveling to Toluca. They have a 3-2 aggregate lead. And I'm excited for this one because this was like the first like big test San Diego FC has had this season. They're playing back-to-back Liga MX champions Toluca, and right now they're in first place. I believe they were undefeated at the time that they played them. So it was when they played Toluca, number 1 in Liga MX, and San Diego FC, number 1 in the Western Conference. And the game did not disappoint, even though it was not what I was expecting to happen.
Yeah, I think SDFC showed a lot of grit through that one because obviously they played with 10 men for 80 minutes almost.
Yeah.
With 10 men, and then played with 9 men for, a couple minutes at the end there.
Yeah. Good 8 or 9.
Yeah. Right. So that's obviously crazy that they were able to still win a match. I think it was like the first time that a team has won a match down by down by a man for that long or something like that.
Yeah.
But once again, it's kind of what I was mentioning in the beginning. I think it just goes to reiterate that like it's very like team football that they're playing, and they're not relying on one player, whether that's a defender, a striker, anything like that. Like anybody can play. And then it was also the young kids showing up, like
Yeah.
Dua and Bombino and
David
Vasquez, like
Vasquez.
yeah, all
Yeah.
those guys really showing up and showing like kind of how to play as a team and still being able to kind of play their own game, even though they were man down. So they were still pressing, they were still trying to keep possession, which usually when you go a man down, you're like, all right, cool, we got to defend a little bit more, not press as much, because obviously you're man down. So that was kind of nice to watch, that they were able to kind of keep that going. But the penalties are frustrating because they didn't actually get one goal from
Yeah.
open play. It was just the 2 penalties, 2 red cards. But my hopes are high. It's gonna be tough just because I'm thinking about the away leg at Pumas and how that was a way different game. Granted, I think
Yeah.
SDFC was just really just sitting back because they had such a comfortable lead. So I think we kind of have to go out there and at least score 1 goal, in my opinion. In in the away leg.
Oh yeah, 100%. And especially with the team like Toluca, the environment that they have in Mexico is like insane. Their supporters group, if I remember correctly, do you know what they're called?
No.
La Masacre, which translates to the massacre. I might be confusing them with another team, but I'm almost certain it's Toluca. And they have a really cool stadium. They redid it recently. So it's one of the stadiums I really want to actually check out. And similar to like Pumas, they have a high altitude too, so I think that might have played a factor too with Pumas, and it might play a factor at Toluca. I'm no pro athlete, but I was in where did I go to? Amilcar, Colorado. I went
Breckenridge.
Breckenridge, and I was struggling even going up a like set of stairs.
And you're a high endurance
So
athlete too, so imagine these guys.
yeah, exactly. And even harder for them. But yeah, I do have. I'm optimistic. Like if you ask me, do you think they're going to win or go through? I think they will, just because they just really show that they have some balls. Like going down one man against such a good team in Mexico, and for such a long time. When that happened, too, we were down 1-0. And what really surprised me, not only was it the fact that we ended up winning, but it like as like real time, my train of thought was, all right, we're 1-0. Let's hopefully not like let this get out of hand. Like let's try to keep the wheels on the bus for this game. And then we score, and then I was like, whoa, all right, we're in this. And we go into the halftime, and then we go up 3-1 with the third goal being like a Anders Dreyer screamer, beautiful goal. And that's when I'm like, dang, we're actually not only are we like in the game, we're winning and we're kind of dominating with one player less. So that gives me a lot of hope. I think Manu Dua will be missed at the in the second game. But I don't know, I think we can pull it off. From yeah, I think we actually will be able to pull it off, but it's not going to be easy, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I would know. I would argue that like if we can get through this match, like we're going to be in a pretty good spot. Because I mean, I'm just looking at the bracket right now. Like our half of the bracket seems like it's very difficult. We have, I mean, LA Galaxy and Cruz Azul, Monterrey, LAFC. So there's some pretty good teams here.
Yeah.
That we'd potentially have to play. So we're definitely in a tough bracket. But I think that if we can beat Toluca, then I think we'll be good until maybe that like that semifinal. Because I would be pretty comfortable against LA Galaxy if they end up winning, and they're up 3-0. So I would be pretty comfortable just based off of how we've played them historically, and being another MLS side. Then we'd be looking at that probably that either LAFC, Cruz Azul, Monterrey in the semis, which would be crazy for the first time for us.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I'm actually sharing a bracket view. Are you able to see it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, someone to be yeah. We were talking about how there hasn't been like maybe exciting games at home yet, other than the Toluca one. Yeah, there'd be some really cool ones. I'd love to see an Inter Miami San Diego FC game.
I know we were so close to it last year. So
yeah, They're on the other side, so essentially we'd have to play them in the final.
Yeah.
So a lot of things still have to happen there, but on the other side, yeah, like Miami could do it. America could probably. I mean, Philadelphia played well. Tigres is a great team. Seattle, Vancouver. So yeah, a lot of things would have to happen, but I would love to see a Miami SDFC game, and then second, I would probably rank seeing America just because it'd be like a big matchup against a Liga MX team. Not that I care about watching America, but
Yeah,
you
maybe
know,
they'll bring. Maybe it won't be reserves like last time when we played them. It
yeah,
was all the reserves.
yeah, exactly.
No, but I'm pretty comfortable though. I hope to play well. I just really hope that they play a little bit more attacking than they did the away leg against Pumas. Just because
Yeah,
they're gonna need it. But like you said, I think Dua is really gonna be missed because he's like so quick and he allows them to really push forward. Because he can get back really quickly.
yeah,
And he really allows for Bombino to just kind of go. Play more of like a wing back kind of a role because they know they have him back there. So we'll see who kind of takes his spot. Now that he won't be playing. But yeah, but I'm excited. I think it's going to be good, and we'll find out. It's tomorrow, right? Tomorrow night.
yeah. Tomorrow night, as of the publish of this episode, so Wednesday.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. And last thing on Dua, I do think he's also proven he's got some dog in him. Like he's got some Luis Suarez in him. You know that hand that he got in there was a little cheeky, like trying to like just anything. I don't like to not give up another goal. It did lead to a penalty, but just like it's, I think it's an instinct that I win at no cost essentially. So it was like I didn't mind seeing him uh get the penalty for that regard because it seemed like it was just trying to do the most for the team.
Yeah. The only
So I will
frustrating
also
part is
miss
that
that.
you give a goal anyways, right? Because a penalty
Yeah.
is almost guaranteed goal. And the worst part is that you can't play the next match. That's the part that just
Yeah.
I think hurts us the most. Versus I think Ingvartsen's also going to be out because he got the
Hmm.
other red. I think on the forward side, I think we're a little bit more set. We have a lot of backups,
Yeah.
things like that, but the defenders are gonna be a little bit more tough. But hey, if they can do it now, then we'll be in a good spot. And thankfully, we have a 1 goal lead, so I think
Yeah,
we'll be good.
absolutely. And I think Dryer should be a little bit rested because I think he didn't start the last game. He came in as a sub. So, yeah, hopefully we're good on that regard because we'll need the goals. And then we can talk about some teams that will need the goals as well in segment 2, where we're checking in on the Champions League round of 16, round 2.
Oh yeah,
There's a few exciting games. Any that are catching your attention?
I mean you already know which ones I'm going to talk about, but
Okay, okay. All right. Shall we start with Manchester United or Manchester City?
no,
I wanted
Manchester.
to say United.
Come on,
I
Mario.
wanted to.
It's been years, and who knows when until we split
Hey,
Champions League
3 years.
football. But yeah, I think the Manchester City against Real Madrid game was kind of unreal for multiple reasons. Obviously, I'm a huge Real Madrid fan, so for me, it was awesome to watch. But obviously, they won 3-0, but Valverde had basically like one of the best games he's ever had in his life. Slash, like for a lot of players, like just one of the best games all around. He was like the best defender on the field, the best midfielder on the field, the best striker on the field from both teams. Like people were saying he was playing like it felt like 3 different players were out there. So kind of crazy. I think people like obviously are going crazy about his hat trick, which is interesting to think because you're like a hat trick. I feel like that happens all the time, but not from like a midfielder, and not against Man City. So yeah, super exciting. I think a lot of people going into it were a little bit bored, as was I. I think you're like, all right, cool, Man City again. I saw so many people when there was a potential of them playing Man City, or I think it was Bodo
Glimpse.
Glimt,
Yeah.
and was the
Yeah.
other potential. Everyone already was like, all right, cool, it's gonna be Real Madrid, Man City, which is
Yeah.
kind of sad to see that it seems like it's rigged to the point where like the UEFA just kind of like sets the matchups that they want. But yeah, it's getting a little bit old, and I think Pep and everyone's exhausted. I think Real Madrid is kind of exhausted of playing the same teams, and the whole point is you want to play exciting matchups. And while they're 2 top teams, like you've seen it so many times that
5 years in a row.
exactly it's just getting it gets kind of old, and I feel like people aren't super as excited to watch that match.
Yeah. After the second leg is done, it'll be the third most common matchup in Champions League history. Do you know what the first one is?
That's
I'll give you a clue. Both of these teams are still in the Champions League right now.
Um, let's see, Real Madrid, Bayern.
Yep.
Okay.
I believe that one's 20 or 22. That's the classic, I guess, Champions League matchup. And I think they could play each other again.
Yeah, the next round
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
Bayern. I think Bayern won pretty handily against. I think it was Atlanta. Or I don't know who they played, but they won pretty 6-1. The next one. I'm just looking down the list. Let's see, who do I think has been there for a while.
Oh, I don't remember the second one, to be honest. I
Oh,
just know the
Mario.
first
I
and
was
the
out here. I
third.
was waiting for the next one.
No, but
You should
if
have said there was only
someone knows that,
one.
you can please let us know. Yeah, I know there is a second matchup. It wouldn't surprise me if it's Real Madrid or probably Bayern, one of those two, because
Yeah,
they're
against like
in the
Liverpool
Champions
or
League a
Barcelona has
lot.
also been around for a while. So I was gonna think that it was maybe one of the like either AC or Inter Milan because they've been.
It could be one of
I
them.
was just thinking like
Let
teams
me.
that have been recurrently like pretty good in the Champions League, that have a handful
Yeah,
of Champions League wins, especially. But yeah, I mean, I think the funny part with that one is that Man City, Real Madrid, that's a pretty recent one. Man City wasn't actually good
yeah.
until 10 years ago when Pep got there, probably 8, 10 years ago.
Hmm.
So the fact that they're already that high up, I think it's something like they've played like 15 times. And there was players that played in the EPL with sides that had played Man City more times at Real Madrid than they did when they were in the EPL. So yeah, so that one was an exciting one. I think the Arsenal Leverkusen game is really exciting. Also,
Yeah, I agree. There's I think Okta predictions model has them like at like 70 something percent chance of winning. I'm kind of surprised. I don't know if I'm maybe missing something or I'm not hyping up Arsenal as much, but I think going into a 1-1 to be so heavily favored, I understand you're playing at home, but I really think anything can happen. So, but most people just think it's a done deal for Arsenal. They are tournament favorites currently based on betting odds, but I don't know. I really think, especially like they were down, they actually were losing. So I could definitely see Leverkusen having a surprise. They're playing a little bit better. They just tied with Bayern Munich over the weekend, so I could see a surprise there. I'm actually going to go Leverkusen on this one.
really, yeah, I think Arsenal is definitely the favorite, but yeah, they've been stumbling a little bit. I think on paper this should have been kind of a landslide, right? They should have won by a
Yeah,
lot, but that goes to show it's Champions League. Yeah, it is interesting that it is 70% though, especially because in the UEFA Champions League, like away goals don't count, and that's something we didn't talk
yeah,
about for the CONCACAF Champions League because the away goals
mhm,
still count for CONCACAF. So Toluca has 2 away goals, so a tie makes them go through, right? If we don't get any away goals, so
yeah,
that's definitely interesting. But that goes to show, man, the odds people really expect. People think it was a fluke, um, and yeah, I mean, playing at home, I could see
yeah,
Arsenal winning it. Um, and yeah, I mean, another one that's also interesting that you're probably going to be looking into is the Bayern Newcastle. That was a surprise too. Last second penalty,
yeah.
barely got like scraped that one through, and they're going to be at home next.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, Barcelona, Newcastle, another very similar example, I would say, where like in terms of like maybe the perceived difference between the teams in terms of like how good they each are. But yeah, Barcelona got really lucky. The only thing that I'm okay with, I guess, is the fact that it was a very easy penalty. It was like a clear foul inside the box, so I didn't feel like it was a giveaway to Barcelona. But they also have to be careful. Like they were kind of surprised against Inter last year and goodbye Champions League. So I'm no more confident in this one. I feel more confident about Barcelona beating Newcastle, I will say, than Arsenal beating Leverkusen. But it's going to be a close one as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pumped for that one. They're also playing at home, and I mean, they've played super well in La Liga. Obviously, they destroyed Sevilla this weekend. But I think they had a couple injuries, so hopefully they'll get everyone back. Rafinha's playing kind of out of his mind again.
Yeah.
Lamine Yamal's kind of like up and down. He's like the penalty taker, so he's got good amount
Hmm.
of goals. But yeah, definitely been up and down this season. And so we'll see how well he plays. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. But I will say, I don't know, when you play English teams, they just play so differently than
Yeah.
how Spanish teams play, that maybe that's why they end up kind of having so much trouble, even though there was not one English team that won out of everything. There was a couple ties, and then the Real Madrid, obviously, Real Madrid won, but oh no, and Chelsea lost too against PSG. So not one English team out of, like, there's a handful of them in the Champions League. Not one actually had a win. So we could end up going to the next round with no English teams, which is kind of unheard of for how strong that league is.
Yeah, like no one was convincing, and two of them really got kind of wrecked with Chelsea and Tottenham. Um, so yeah, and Liverpool lost 1-0, which Galatasaray plays at home really well. They don't really lose there often. That's another one where I actually think, I don't know, I feel like Liverpool's gonna like go through. They have the home field advantage. But it could really be anyone's game as well in that one.
Yeah, they also just have not been playing well. Honestly, the
Now,
last, like, probably month and a half, they've dropped. I think they're maybe like fourth now. I think in the
yeah, maybe even
EPL.
lower than that. Yeah, it's been a tough year for them
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
Galatasaray's played well, man. Victor Osimhen, it just keeps showing up, man. When
Yeah,
they need it, he showed up really big last round. Showed up again for that goal in this round. So they're kind of like a sneaky team, and I think they also defend really well and keep possession. So I think that might be um, an interesting one to watch, especially because I could see it being like a 1-0, 2-1, like one goal difference. So if someone scores and opens it up a little bit, might
yeah.
be.
I think the Turkish league in general warrants a little bit more of our attention. They've been spending a lot of money in players recently. You've had a lot of big names go there, so I think we might have to cover them in an upcoming episode and just talk more about what's going on over there. Because yeah, they're playing pretty uh, convincingly, really. Galatasaray is always in the Champions League, but I feel like you're seeing bigger, like more teams be competitive in like European competitions. Um, and there's one more game that I'm very curious about. It's the Bayern Munich Atalanta game. Right now, Bayern's got a 6-1 aggregate lead, but here's where it gets interesting, and it could make for a pretty like good game to watch. Manuel Neuer's injured. Their second string goalie is also injured, and the third string goalie was just ruled out because he pulled his, I think, hamstring or
Mhm.
groin over the weekend. So the two most viable options are their 16-year-old, I believe, under 19 goalkeeper, or their fourth division goalkeeper who is 19 years old. So it comes down basically to two different teams. From what I've seen, I think the 16-year-old has more of the advantage right now. There is still a possibility that their third string, or no, the second one that has second string that has a concussion, can recover and play. But it'd be really interesting if they go with the 16-year-old. I don't think he'd be as young or as old as Iker Casillas was, but Casillas had kind of like a crazy like moment where he just became the Real Madrid goalie. I think it was on a Champions League final, right?
Yep. Champions League final kind of came in the middle of the match, and then has some crazy saves, which he never
Yeah.
ended up giving that up after that. He just became the starter after that. But I did see, though, Atlanta had 3 shots on goal. So, I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
assuming that even all shots on goal go in, and this goal is just like absolutely just terrible. Think they'll be okay, because you got to get through all the defenders to get to the
Yeah.
goalie. But yeah, that is actually kind of wild to think about. If they go up against anybody even remotely, like, I don't know, let's say if they play Real Madrid next, they'll have a break, so they'll probably get some of those people back. But even if you're talking about
Yeah.
a third string goalie, not even thinking about fourth or fifth, like if you're talking about even a third string goalie, that's still very, very different than having Manuel Neuer, who is consistently one of the
Yeah.
top goalkeepers in the world, and that might be the difference.
Yeah, and we just saw it with the Atletico Tottenham game, how like a goalkeeper can really mess up your team in the Champions League. And I, my heart goes out to that guy. It seems like a really tough spot to be in, but it can make a difference. So I still think Bayern's going to go through. You made a good point with the shots on target in the previous game, uh, but it could get interesting where you're seeing like a 3-0, 4-0. Like Bayern's essentially gonna have to score a few goals just to like keep the nerves down. But just something worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, and I want to say I don't even think that what's his name even played Harry Kane had that many goals, but Olise and Musiala are just so good, man.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
they're they're going to be really scary. So I
He was
think Real Madrid
injured.
has to play him next match. It's gonna be
Yeah.
scary.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned injuries and going back to the Man City Real Madrid game, I thought Man City was going to win because of injuries. Real Madrid had so many players out. Think no Mbappe, no Camavinga. You had like three
No Jude
others. No
Bellingham, no
Bellingham.
Rodrigo.
Yeah, Rodrigo's gone for a while, but yeah, I really thought Man City had it for that reason. So I guess yeah, you can't rule out Real Madrid in the Champions League.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But we'll have Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll see who ends up getting to the next round. The second legs are always the most exciting games to watch because it's actually like do or die. The first one's like you
Yeah,
can lose 3-0. Like Man City's not dead. They're hobbling, but they're not dead. But once you're in the last match, it's like all right, here we go. The last couple minutes of these matches are crazy. So, and next week when we talk, we'll know who's in the final 8.
yeah, and I feel like every year we have one match that seems like basically out of reach, and one team always pulls off the surprise.
Yeah, you
So
get an early goal and it's a different game, man. Even if you're down by 3-4 goals, so you get a goal in the first 10, 15 minutes, like that changes the whole match and it opens everything up.
yeah,
And sometimes that's all it takes, and one lapse of judgment, which is kind of what happened at the Man City game. Like in 15 minutes, they were down 2-0, like out of nowhere, So
yeah.
that can happen to anybody.
Well, yeah, it is very, very competitive in the Champions League. But there is a league, and we're gonna move on to a different quick segment that might be the most competitive league in the world. Do you know which one it is, Amilcar?
I do because I read what you were telling me about, but I was actually completely surprised. I was like, what league is this even? How did you even find this out?
So the most arguably competitive league in the world, which I actually agree, is the Polish league. And the reason is after a third of the games having played, I think it's 34. It's a 34 game season. All 18 teams in the first division of the league can still win the league or be relegated. So if that's not competitive, I'm not saying it's the highest level, but if that's not competitive, I don't know what is. So much so that the first and second all-time winningest teams in that league are currently in the second division. So they've been recently relegated.
That's so interesting. So it's like the team that's beating the other one is losing to a team that has beat. It's just like they're all losing to each other. Is kind of what it
Yeah,
seems like.
essentially. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I also wonder what the conditions are playing in Poland. Like, are they playing indoors? Because it must be like just absolutely snowing. So I'm curious about that too.
It's probably similar weather than like what you play in like northern Germany.
Yeah, I guess it's true.
Yeah.
Because isn't the team in the Champions League like Bodo Glimt? I think they're like from Norway or.
Yeah, they're the only Champions League team in the Arctic Circle.
Yeah, so their season's not even going on right now, right? Because it's so cold. So they push it
Oh,
to
is
the
that
summer.
why they hadn't played? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, if this is a similar situation, I guess it's maybe a little further south, but maybe that's the reason. Maybe they're just like the conditions are just deplorable, and it's like it's anybody's game,
Yeah. So I just thought it was pretty interesting. You think they always talk about the Premier League, but no one's talking about the Polish league.
Man, you have to cue them in now, going forward.
Yeah. And now, some news closer to at least your heart, Amilcar. The Finalissima between Argentina and Spain is canceled. A lot of it's due to geopolitical reasons going on in the world right now. They're trying to find alternatives, but it's eventually it's just not going to happen. But there are unconfirmed reports that the Argentina camp wasn't necessarily like too sad about missing this. They did lose the Finalissima against Spain 6-1 before the 2018 World Cup, and the coaching staff did feel that defeat affected the tournament going into the World Cup. I mean, that's definitely a gut punch going into a big tournament.
Yeah, and I think so they were supposed to play in Qatar, and which obviously is they can't do that anymore. And I think the official reason is that they just couldn't agree on like a different date to play the match and location and whatnot. So they decided to just not play it at all. But honestly, probably better for them. But the funny
Yeah.
part is like you're really not that confident that you can beat Spain, and that is going to be who you're going to be playing at some point potentially, or a better team than that. I mean, depending on who you ask, like you kind of would think that you use it as like a measuring stick on how ready are you for this World Cup, and do you need to make any changes? But I could also see that the part of like losing and then just completely losing your confidence and saying, oh shoot, I think we had something here, but maybe not. Maybe last World Cup was all we had, and we're not going to. But on paper, that both teams are super good, so it's going to be
Yeah.
could have been a preview of a final depending on how the brackets shake out.
And a good learning experience too. I don't have like specific like data, but I feel like a lot of times when teams play each other before a short tournament in either exhibition uh or right like regular season going into playoffs, and then they play each other again, the team that lost during like the previous game can sometimes learn things that they apply and then pull off a win. I'm thinking about like the 1980 Lake Placid US hockey team. They lost like 10-1 to the at the time Soviet Union, and then they beat them in the actual tournament, which I know it's hockey from like 40 something
I was going
years
to say,
ago.
is that your one example in the last like 50
No, no,
years
no,
that
no.
this has worked?
I have others, not soccer related either, but the Patriots and the Giants, I think it's 2007, they played the last or second to last game of the regular season. Patriots went undefeated regular season, and then Super Bowl, the Giants won. So yeah, not really related. I guess it shouldn't be based on anything in that regard, but just trying to make maybe connections that aren't actually there.
Yeah, but I think you're not wrong, because I think even when we talk about like any sort of team that's within their divisions, like the Dodgers and the Padres, the Chargers and the Chiefs, like teams like that are in
Yeah.
the same division, like they know each other so well, that especially like if they play each other early on, like they've seen what they've done wrong and learn from it. And also it comes up with like the confidence. Like you also on the flip side, you're like, oh, we beat them 6-1, like we got this, and then you're like, maybe not, and that confidence kind of bites you in the butt. So I think maybe both sides of it.
Yeah, and with confidence, they do say when you feel like you look good, you feel good, you play good. So
There he is.
we're gonna. So Nike released today the Team USA and Canada's kits. About a week ago also released the Brazil Jordan away kit. Just any quick thoughts on what you saw so far on the kits?
Yeah, the Brazil Jordan kit looks sick. Like I think that's one of the cooler kits, especially because this is like the redemption tour kind of, you could say, for Brazil in this World Cup, and hopefully, their chances at glory again. So wearing that kit it just looks super cool, which I think almost all kits that have Jordan, like even the PSG Jordan kit, I think those are just
Oh yeah,
so unique and so cool, and it really makes you think like you have to be the top of the top teams to really get to be a Jordan team or like a Jordan athlete or anything like that. So I think when teams get Jordan kits, I think they always look very cool.
yeah. I do. I always think it's funny though. Like, imagine explaining it to someone like that knows nothing about sports. Like, oh, who's sponsoring that kit? Oh, a basketball player.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's kind of interesting, but it's more of like, yeah, I guess it's a brand, right? And like the
Yeah,
division behind the brand. But I think Jordan is its own brand, maybe under
yeah.
Nike. I wouldn't be able to explain that. But yeah, actually though, you're like, oh yeah, basketball team or a basketball player is the one that's sponsoring the soccer team. But honestly, I will say, if someone doesn't know who Michael Jordan is or Jordan brand or something, like, wow, you must be living under a rock somewhere if you don't know what that is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Uh, and then any thoughts on the Team USA or Canada kids?
I didn't get to see the Team USA one. The Canada one looks really cool too. I love how they did the tribute to the maple leaf, which I think is obviously their go-to. So it looks really cool. It has kind of like a silhouette, and then their away jersey looks also very interesting. So
Yeah,
I like that they've been mixing things up to try something different. Oh wow, yeah, that jersey actually looks really cool. It almost looks like
yeah,
it's a waving flag versus their usual like very stagnant straight lines.
yeah. And I think that's what they were going for. trying to kind of like the '94 World Cup where it was a flag as well, but they couldn't use the same pattern because that was an Adidas kit at the time.
Oh,
But this looks a lot nicer than the leaks I had seen earlier. I really like this as well. Uh, it looks pretty clean. We have our boy, not actor, but soccer player Diego Luna modeling it there.
do they have the
He'll be playing San Diego
or
FC
no?
this weekend. Wait, what was
Do they
that?
have the away jersey, or is that just the home?
Yeah, the away jersey. It's hard to see it in this picture, but it's black with black like stars as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, the away jerseys
yeah,
have been just completely not random, but like very, very off the wall different, which I think is super, super interesting. I like that a lot.
yeah. And then this would be the Canada kit one.
Hmm. Yeah, and you can see like the silhouette and like the red with the
Yeah.
burgundy kind of dark colors. Yeah, we'll have to do a new
Oh, for
updated
sure.
version of our last video where we where we talked
Yeah,
about all the kits now that Nike has come out.
yeah. There's a few other. Yeah, I'm excited to see the England kit and like the Brazil home jersey. There's going to be a lot of other really cool ones. So we'll for sure be doing an episode breaking those down.
Yeah, and last year I think we did much closer, or not last year, 4 years ago we did it much closer to the World Cup. So we got all those
Yeah.
all those independent jerseys that were from the home country and like brands that maybe we hadn't heard of before, and all those really unique kits. So I'm really looking forward to that. So maybe we'll be able to hit that a little bit closer to the World Cup, which I don't know. I guess maybe then again I don't know how much closer you can get. We're probably like three
Yeah.
months away ish, around 3-4 months away.
Yeah,
So,
under 100 days. Yeah.
yeah, that'll be crazy.
Getting excited.
Yeah, but I'm
Well,
pumped.
I'd say I think that does it for today's episode.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's all we got for you guys. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate being part of your day, talking soccer and hanging out. Remember, you can find us on Instagram and X at _pitch report. And now we're posting everything on YouTube. So at Pitch Report Pod on YouTube. So you can see our beautiful faces with our backgrounds. But that's all we got for you today. I'm Amilcar.
I'm Mario.
Thanks so much.